In this video, we're going to take a look at three of my favorite platforms that really help with formative assessments in the classroom. First up, Kahoot. Hey guys, I want to do a quick run through of Kahoot.it. This is one of the platforms that we'll be reviewing for a formative assessment activity. I've pulled up this lesson, which is lesson 2-2 in my lesson plans, and I'm going to press Classic, which means each player has their own device, and they'll be using their own devices to vote on their answer. I'm going to turn off the music because the music of this platform is really annoying. So when I start a Kahoot, it's going to give me a pin, and what I've done is in these other tabs, I have opened up what students would see. They would see that they need to enter a game pin, 954144. So each person, I'm just trying to enter in a few so we have something to work with. When a student signs in, you'll see them populate on your side. You can exit out of them if they've used slang or inappropriate language. And when everyone is signed in, you're going to press Start. So what you see right now on your screen is what a student would see at the front of the classroom. This is what they will be asking themselves. And these are their answer choices. So they're going to take a look at it. Let's see, the answer is 1, -3, which would be yellow, and a student would be voting on something that looks like this. So there's also shapes in case the student is colorblind. Let's say this person gets it right and this person gets it wrong. When everyone has voted is the only time that they see a correct or incorrect screen. They wouldn't see it immediately. They'd have to be waiting on everyone else to finish. Or likewise, if the time runs out, then the results populate on the screen, everyone sees it. If they're in the majority or the minority, you can press on the show media and do a quick discussion. Let's say the majority of people messed up, then you'd want to discuss that with your class before moving on to the next question. The way that this is set up is it's timed, so the quicker you answer it correctly, the more points you get. And of course, if you answer it incorrectly, you wouldn't get any points at all. You can turn that function off and just make it a right or wrong type situation. All right, so the students, I'm not going to even look at the problem. I'm just going to vote. All right, and so it keeps this leaderboard kind of updating. Kids love this. High engagement. It's really awesome. I would say that Kahoot is best for quick identification or quick skills or vocabulary, but nothing that takes too long because the kids are so eager to vote that they're not going to put in the time or effort for a more complex problem. It's great because they get immediate feedback, and it's great for ELL students because you can use it for vocabulary. The downside of that same situation, of course, is that racing for an answer is not great for someone who doesn't speak English natively, or if they're still working on that. Also, this can be difficult because it's hard for the students to see the answer choices from the back of the class. Right now, these answers down here look relatively large. They do not look that large on the screen. So sometimes this is not an ideal situation. All right, so in that case, neither kid got it right. The platform is super easy to navigate when you're creating these. I'm going to show you in a second how to make one. And I'm not going to go through all 13, but for now, you see how it is. At the end, it kind of gives you a first place, second place, third place type situation. And next, let's take a look on how to make one of these. Making a Kahoot is really easy. So when you log in, this is your home page, and you're going to say that you want to make a new Kahoot, or you can search down here and do one of these. There's 4 different formats to a Kahoot. But the one I'm showing you is the classic Kahoot. Okay, so you're going to put in a title, identifying, let's say, transformations. In 8th grade math, they have to learn 4 rigid transformations. Like translation, rotation, reflection, and they also have to learn dilation. Oh, I usually hashtag my school, so if need be, my co-workers can find it easily. All right, so you add a question. Which transformation is shown below? In math, especially because we have like exponents and things like that, typically I know I'm going to be importing an image for my problem. So as you can see off to the side here, I have some images I know I'm going to use in this Kahoot. So I've already screenshotted them and saved them. Just drag and drop. Perfect. So I'm asking them what transformation is being represented here. And our 4 options are going to be translation, reflection, rotation, and dilation. This picture is showing a reflection, so I'm going to put a check mark next to that. That way the Kahoot knows that is the correct answer. Now I'm going to press next. Oh, I should mention, let me go in and edit it, that you can put various amounts of time on each one. Now, since it's my opinion that Kahoot is best for identification and vocabulary, I'm never going to use 60, 90, 120. To be honest, the kids have already guessed randomly. They're not going to put in 2 minutes worth of work on there. So maybe 30 seconds. I would typically read the question aloud for my English language learners, especially the ones who have just arrived in the US, just to make sure they can access the question. Although a Kahoot like this is kind of self-explanatory. They're going to see the picture and then the 4 vocabulary words. Okay, now what I would do if I was creating this, because I know this is just drilling vocabulary, I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to just drag this on top. And now I have a translation question. So you can go through and you can create as many questions as you want. Again, I would recommend having all your pictures saved and, off to the side, just click and drag. And adjusting as necessary. If there is a question that is harder, adjusting that time limit. And then whenever you're done, you're going to press save. And before you leave this, oh, oops, I didn't mean that. Before you leave this alone for too long, I would hit this. No, I wouldn't. I would open it up and there it is. Take this link. Usually if I have a non-traditional lesson or if I need to find something on the internet, I'm going to type up a quick lesson plan and I'm just going to drop that link in it. Okay, thanks. The second platform is quizzes. The second resource I wanted to share with you is quizzes.com. Quizzes functions a lot in the same way that Kahoot does, but it's not going to be in a group setting. It'll be more individualized. So you have the ability to give them multiple choice questions as well. I'll take you through what it looks like to play one live. So before I press proceed, I do have some options. I can have them shuffle questions, shuffle answer choices, which is neither one of those is available on Kahoot. Show answers after the questions, show a leaderboard, question timer. Now, this is the same idea as Kahoot, where the faster you answer, the more points you get. I let my students actually vote on this, and they end up preferring not to have it timed whatsoever. They actually prefer it not to be timed, and in that way, they get to have some time for themselves to answer. Show memes, that's fun. Please do not play music. And then you get to decide what kind of memes they get. Okay, so you would say proceed. Similar to Kahoot, you would get a game pin, or in this case, they call it a game code, 849573. So I'm just signing in as if I was a kid. Oh, look, it won't let me sign in as two different people on this one. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, we'll just play as one person then. Over here, I can also X out if the name is not appropriate. This is what it looks like on the teacher end. Same thing on the student end. And you have your questions. Now, the nice thing is the answer choices are a lot bigger. So if you have a sentence that you want them to select as an answer, then the sentence will fit better than in Kahoot. Another student may not even start with this question because I chose to shuffle the questions. So this one shows the equation in simplest form. Thanks for my points. And then it goes on. So this is what it looks like. It would show me a leaderboard with everybody if I was playing with more people, but I'm not. And at the end, on the teacher side, it's going to be showing accuracy. So there's a blue bar for when someone gets the questions right, and that blue bar will grow the more questions they get right. Next to it will be a pink bar, and that will represent the numbers or the questions they're getting wrong, and that ratio can kind of give you a visual on how they're doing. And then you can also look at the questions, things like that. So that's what it looks like to take a Kahoot. To take a quizzes activity. It's nicer because they get to see diagrams, they can see the answer choices better, and there's no rush. Creating a quizzes is also very easy. So when you log in, this is what your homepage looks like. You're going to go to create a quiz. And you can enter a quiz name. So maybe system intro to systems equations. You have some options for language here. And you can start. Now, you can just type your question here, and it's giving you a preview of what it would look like. And then option 1. So this is essentially showing you what the kids would see when they're participating in a quizzes. You can also add an image. Drag and drop works if you open that up first. Time. You can also play this untimed, so this isn't as necessary. The great thing is that they do have math type here, so that is helpful. Kahoot does not have that. And the best, hands down, aspect of quizzes is searching other questions. So I can search systems of equations, and these are quizzes that are made by a lot of other people. I will caution you, make sure you look at the questions. You could drag and drop them and then edit them later, because a lot of people are borrowing from each other, right? So these would take a while. These would take a while to solve, right? They're going to be using substitution or elimination. So those are great questions that they'd be able to do at the end of the year. If I was doing an intro, I might do something like this, where it shows a graph, and I just want to know how many solutions. So I hit plus. You see it's joined my question list over here. And later I can rearrange them, I can edit them, all sorts of things. So this one is also about how many equations. Again, this is an intro to systems. If a system of equations has no solution, what would the graph look like? Let's go ahead and add that one as well. Great, same idea here. This one is identifying the the solution on the graph. That's one solution. All right, take a look at some other ones. So I think this might be similar to the other one we just added, but I'm not sure. So I can add it and get rid of it later. You can see that these are repeats. I've already added these from the other one. So I can keep taking a look. Some people have exactly what you want, some people don't. This one is asking what the solution is, and you'd have to identify the point. That's a repeat. This is a repeat, or not a repeat, but the idea of being parallel, no solution. Here we go with this one, but they don't know how to solve if this is just introduction to systems. Awesome. So again, this is like the best feature in the entire world. You can also, of course, go screenshot a whole bunch of stuff, save images, leave them on your desktop, drag them, and make your own questions as well. That is also easy to do here. So this one has a lot of identifying the solution. But anyways, that is how you would make it. Oh, okay. We have to mark the correct answer here. So I'm going to close this. We'll just call this the correct answer. It's going to ask you to categorize things for them. Here we go, mathematics. Finish and create quiz. Topics. Algebra. Perfect. So when you want to play it, you're going to hit play live. That's where you get your play code. All right, thank you. And last but not least, Socrative. A third resource I wanted to share with you is called Socrative.com. So this functions a lot like Kahoot or quizzes. The engagement piece is not as high as the other two, but it does have one great feature that I wanted to share with you. So first, let's take a look at what it looks like to go through it. You would say that you go into the launch menu, you would hit quiz, search which quiz you would want to start. Now quiz is a loose term, it doesn't have to be quiz, it could function like an activity or a review. I'm going to give my students instant feedback. Now that to me is the strength of this program. I'm going to require names, I can shuffle questions, shuffle answers, and as a student I would want to know what my final score is. So this is where I'm going to see all of my users listed. Now as a student, I'm going to sign in with this room name, Asbury8726. When you use the free version, you only get to have one room name. If you pay for Socrative, you can have multiple. So use the distributive property to simplify the expression. Let's say I picked this one. I multiplied the first two terms and then added the second two. Submit answer. So not only does it tell me I got it incorrect, it shows me the question, the correct answer, and an explanation. So that is a function that is not available on Kahoot unless I stop, pull up the problem and talk about it. And it is not available on quizzes. It would just show a funny meme and that they got it wrong. So now this one is going to be tricky. It allows you to do a select all. Again, not a function on Kahoot or quizzes, and much more aligned to what a student might see on a more rigorous test. Because again, teaching should be moving away from multiple choice overall, although it does have a time and place for feedback for your students. So select all expressions that are equivalent. So maybe I get some of them right. This one's equivalent, that one's equivalent, this one's not, but I got confused. And so it says why this one is incorrect, and it says why this one is incorrect. I didn't choose D, but I did choose C, so then I could get that feedback as to why it was incorrect. Now those explanations are written in by the teacher, so that's a lot of work. This would be a very mindful activity where maybe you want to kind of touch base with everybody and their weaknesses on a review day or something like that, but you can't be everywhere at once. So this makes it also feel much more personalized for the student as well. On the teacher side, you're taking a look. So according to the original creation, I've taken questions 3 and 6 because again, it's shuffling questions. The one thing you want to do when it is all done is you want to press finish, because otherwise when you try and play again, it's going to get blocked. So now I can get reports, view chart, or back to launch. So again, I can take a look at data from this formative assessment as well. So let's take a look at what it would be like to create a Socrative activity for your students. You're going to go ahead and head over to the quizzes bar. You can search right here, but unfortunately you're only searching the quizzes that you have already created. That's not searching a huge bank of Socrative assessments. If you want to create your own, you're going to put add quiz, and you can create new. We'll take a look at what that looks like in general. But you're probably wondering, what do other Socratives look like? So you would go to import and you would try and import using a serial number a different Socrative. The question is, how do you find those other Socrative activities? Well, per the help menu on this website, there is this Google Doc. And this Google Doc can be sorted. You can do, Alt F and do find a keyword. But that's basically how this functions, is a Google Doc. And then you would use this number, and when you go to launch a quiz, you would put in this number. You can obviously import it, check it out, see if you like it, but I'm going to be honest with you, I would never use my time this way. I would simply create my own, because that is not a great way. I found that out the hard way trying to take a look at some other people's. Sometimes the questions aren't clear. Sometimes, it's all up to personal taste and what your objective is or what your unit's about. So if you add a quiz and press Create New, you're going to leave the title here. You can say align it to a standard, and then you'd have to go search them. That would be helpful, I suppose, if you were sharing out also with other people. You can decide what kind of questions you're going to do. And here's your question. I don't even know what to put. So here's your question. Here's answer choice 1. Here's answer choice 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can add more, and you can say answer 5 is incorrect because, and do a similar kind of explanation that we saw on the demo activity from before. So this can be really meaningful. Giving your students this feedback, I think, this explanation section, I think is by far the most useful and unique part of Socrative in comparison to the other two platforms. So then you can save it and edit it later, enable sharing, so if someone had this number, they would be able to use it, and you know how to launch it with your students because we took a look at that.